Yo, I'm Matt.
And I'm Joel,
and we're FringeCraft.
Today we're going to be watching a video about the upcoming Pentagon UFO report. This report was signed into the COVID relief bill that was signed last year into law. It gave a 180-day deadline for the UAP task force at the Pentagon to unclassify and give a report to Congress on everything related to UFOs. We're going to be covering this a lot on the FringeCraft channel as more and more details come out, and this video should give a great overview. This video is from Mystery Wire. You should check out their channel, and we'll put a link below.
All right, we're watching this in March, and this is signed into law in December, and it was the final COVID relief bill that President Trump signed into law, not the one that looks as if it's about to be signed into law by Biden. So it gives 180 days from that one, which means sometime in June we should have this report. So let's get into it. Before we do, we'd like to ask you to like this video if you're interested in this topic or in similar topics, subscribe to see more content like this, and comment what you think, what's going to be in this report. Do you have any ideas? What do you want to see in the report? Let us know. All right, let's get into the video.
First public mention of the UAP task force came in June 2020 when the Senate Intelligence Committee formally asked the Pentagon for a comprehensive analysis of the UFO mystery. Over the previous 3 years, members and staff of key committees had received closed-door briefings about startling encounters between the U.S. military and unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. The Senate Intelligence Chairman Marco Rubio acknowledged to Mystery Wire that lawmakers consider this to be a serious matter.
This is a very simple equation for me. There are things flying over our military installations. We don't know what they are or where they're from. We don't know if it's some other country that's doing it, and we need to know the answer to that question. Simple.
In August 2020, the Pentagon formally announced the creation of the task force, and in late December, the massive bill containing government funding and COVID relief was signed into law, as first reported by blogger Danny Silva. A provision in the bill authorized the task force to prepare a comprehensive analysis of the UFO mystery and submit it to Congress within 180 days, meaning around June 1st. Getting a straight story out of the Pentagon about its interest in UFOs has always been a challenge, and the same is true of the UAP task force. For one thing, it's not exactly a new creation. Veteran intelligence officer Lou Elizondo spent years as the program manager for ATIP, the Pentagon's previous UFO investigation. When the New York Times first revealed the existence of ATIP in December 2017, the Pentagon said the program ended in 2012 and that it didn't really have anything to do with UFOs. Neither claim was true. Elizondo said the program never ended. It continued even after he left the government as a loose confederation of personnel in different parts of the national security apparatus. Elements of that investigation formed the basis of the newly named UAP task force. Members of the public and media excited about the scheduled report to Congress might want to temper their expectations because there are significant barriers to anything resembling full disclosure. For one thing, the report to Congress will be unclassified, meaning it will not contain the most sensitive, most classified cases or incidents because those directly involve national security matters. Key committees will likely receive separate annex reports regarding classified incidents. That information isn't likely to be made public. Secondly, while the funding bill ordered the task force to produce a comprehensive analysis of the UAP mystery, it provided no funding. The task force was not provided with an actual budget, only marching orders. Mystery Wire asked the Pentagon to comment on this, but received no reply. Thirdly, sources familiar with the task force say there's been a major change at the top. The high-ranking official who's led the UFO investigation for years is out. The name has not been made public, but we've learned it's the same official who's been briefing Congress since 2018 and who's been directly responsible for getting elected officials interested in the subject. The Navy assigned the official to other duties. Can the task force finish its job by June 1st? Maybe not. It's a gigantic undertaking to search the entire national security system for all relevant videos and files, and then to seek input and analysis from other intelligence agencies. It is entirely possible the task force will have to ask Congress for more time. In a radio interview in late December.
So one thing I want to bring up is in our previous video that we've recorded during this session, we talked about Lou Elizondo and his acknowledgement that there was a reasoning behind the change in nomenclature from UFO to UAP.
UAP, yeah.
And as you can see, the language that appears to be in this COVID relief bill, as well as that the government is now using, is all UAPs and not UFOs. So,
but it means the same thing.
Yeah. I suppose they also might say it means it could be a foreign nation. You know, as Marco Rubio was stating at the beginning, if there's things hovering over bases that we don't know whether it's a foreign nation or non-state entity that's causing it, we'd like to know that and what is causing it and how they're doing it. So it makes sense. What he's saying isn't so far-fetched that it doesn't make sense. It makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty rational in my opinion.
And there's a pretty recent documentary on Amazon, I think it came out about 2 months ago or 3 months ago, called The Phenomenon. And in there they cover a lot of how senators and congressmen have getting more and more intrigued by the UAP phenomenon. Whatever. The phenomenon. And they have interviews with like Harry Reid, I think Marco Rubio himself, and several other congressmen are interviewed, and I think Chris Mellon. So a lot of people get interviewed in there that, you know, very high-ranking officials are definitely interested in this topic enough to take time out of their day on a weekly or monthly basis to be briefed on it.
Yeah.
So.
And these are people who, they don't have a lot of time to just be briefed on willy-nilly, like, things that don't matter. So they actually are taking this seriously to some degree. All right, let's move on and finish the video up.
Lou Elizondo announced he has left To the Stars Academy, the company which coaxed him into coming forward in 2017. Also departed is veteran intelligence official Chris Mellon. Both men say they're still supportive of TTSA, but are now largely focused on behind-the-scenes work in Washington to encourage Congress and the Pentagon to move the UFO ball down the field. Elizondo cautioned the public to lower its expectations about the task force report, saying, quote, "This is a process, not an event. We're asking the U.S. government to engage in something that historically it never wanted to engage in. I think a lot of people have these false hopes that disclosure is here and all of a sudden have this huge announcement by the U.S. government. Progress is being made," Elizondo says. The task force report will be just the beginning. He hopes Congress will authorize a permanent UAP program, one that has a budget and the authority to truly investigate a perplexing mystery. For Mystery Wire, George Knapp reporting.
All right, well, I feel like he kind of tempered expectations a little bit there.
Severely. But also, I mean, as you were shocked, and, you know, I just learned this as well, that Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon both have departed from...
Yeah, and this was over a month ago.
To the Stars Academy. Yeah.
We're late on that news.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
That's
I guess what they're saying is it makes sense in the sense that if they're trying to get the government to release more, maybe they can't be working on behalf of a private entity that...
It'd be a conflict of interest a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we don't know specifically what they're doing, but it sounds like they're still working in the same spirit.
Yeah, and it is a little bit of a bummer how he's saying, you know, temper your expectations. One thing that, you know, I caught in there that George Knapp is talking about is, and that I've read, is that, so this is going to be a report given to the Congressional Armed Services and Intelligence Committees, and it's going to be about UAPs, and it's going to be an unclassified report, but there's allowed to be a classified annex. And what he kind of, it seemed like George Knapp was saying is, like, within the committee itself and to the Senate, there's going to be specifically the sections that would be classified, and the public isn't going to be aware of what is spoken about or said in those. And, you know, that could actually be where all the juicy information is. the juicy details, right?
Yeah, all the weather balloons they found.
That's what we're going to learn about, is all the weather balloons.
Flocks of birds.
Yeah. Or, who knows, they might release, the David Fravor video was like...
Yeah.
It was interesting that they released that, that the Navy...
Surprising, even.
Did that, yeah, surprising. So, there might be something further released that that satisfies the public, to a certain degree. And what's spoken about really to the congressional committees is really what we'd want to hear, though. And so they release something else to satisfy us. So I guess we'll know more in June or after June. So we'll keep an eye out on this and definitely keep our ear to the ground.
Yeah, if anything interesting comes out of this, you'll hear it from us.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah. All right, well, if you like this video, comment, subscribe, like it. Let us know what you think. Other than that, I've been Matt.
And I'm Joel.
And we're
FringeCraft. See you
Later,
guys.
guys.